We're lining up the comments! The internet calls for a new video. Then Matt's Minutes will answer. Do you have a minute to talk about the Lord of the Rings?
Greetings, senators, and welcome.
Sorry, let me try that again. Greeting, Hobbitses, and welcome to another exciting episode of Matt's Minutes, the only show on the internet that still remembers that song, They're Taking the Hobbits to Isengard. You know that video is like 11 years old? Yeah. No, seriously. Anyway, back to the topic at hand today. For those of you that don't know, I am a huge fan of The Lord of the Rings, though I really didn't acquire this, I guess you could say, not of quite obsession, but interest, there we go, in The Lord of the Rings until I was maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. Not honestly all that long, but man, there's a lot of good stuff in The Lord of the Rings. One thing that I love about The Lord of the Rings is the character development throughout both the movies and the books. They're so good. Oh my gosh. And when I say character development in Lord of the Rings, there's a couple of names that pop into my head pretty quickly, and that would be Samwise Gamgee and Aragorn, son of Arathorn, King of Gondor. Now, I love both of those characters. Though, honestly, I proposed a really difficult question for myself, and that was, if you had to pick one, which one would it be? Who was the better one at doing their job? / who was the better character? And let me tell you, that was not an easy question to ask myself. So, I asked other people while formulating my own answer, and before any of them got back to me, I spent about several hours pondering it and finally came to a decision. And I got some surprising answers from the people that I asked. So I'm going to compare how my results differed or confirmed what theirs said. Now, if you want to take a moment to think about what your answer is, this would be a great time to do it before we talk about all the statistics and see where your answer falls into place. So go ahead and pause the video right now. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I think that was a long enough pause. So let's get into it and see how our answers compare. Now, of those that I talked to, 100% of them said, oh my goodness, that's a hard question. I'm gonna need some time to think about it. And you know what? I think that just goes to show the quality of the people I asked, because it wasn't just a decision. It was a, oh man, yes, I recognize how hard of a question that is. So I'm gonna give it due justice. I'm gonna sit down and think about it. So good job, guys. If you were one of those people, give yourself a round of applause. I'm super proud of you. Now on to the actual results. So on the results, 78% of the people that I asked said they preferred Sam to Aragorn, while 22% said they preferred Aragorn to Sam. Now, as for me personally, I also agree that I prefer Sam to Aragorn. Though I was shocked that the numbers were that high. I honestly expected more of a 50-50 split. So to have it that 78% pick Sam, I was definitely not expecting that. So in addition to following up with which one they preferred, I then asked them why, to see if there was any common ground and to try and get to the answer of what made them prefer Sam to Aragorn. Now, out of those that I asked that picked Sam, every single one of them said this was a very hard decision and Sam only beat Aragorn by just a little bit. And I get that. I'm in the exact same boat. That's why it took me at least several hours to come up with the decision, because it was just by slim margins. And the reasons why people picked Sam to Aragorn were because Sam was given a burden that he never asked for. And yet with it, he did so much better than anyone was ever expecting, and he did it pretty much with a joyful heart. He was happy to serve Frodo. He was the perfect support character. And he never wanted an adventure. He never wanted this job. But it was assigned to him and he said, I'm gonna do it. And I think that just shows so much character in Sam. Now, the people that picked Aragorn, I noticed were a lot faster with their answers than the people that picked Sam, and they kind of thought about it and then said, Aragorn. So it was interesting that there was a difference between the amount of time it took people to pick Sam and the time it took for people to pick Aragorn. And for some of the reasons why people picked Aragorn, it was because the party never would have gotten very far without him. He's a great man, he's a great king, he's a great leader, he's a great fighter, all of which are 100% true. So don't get me wrong, I love Aragorn. He is one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. So the fact that Sam beat Aragorn, I'm not trying to offend anybody here. Don't think that it was by a huge margin or that it was a very easy decision. It took me a while of sitting there and thinking and processing. So yeah, I agree with the reasons why people pick Sam, but I also agree with the reasons that people pick Aragorn. And honestly, I think that just goes to show how great these characters are and how beloved the fan base adores them. Now, are those the only great characters in The Lord of the Rings? Oh no, there were plenty. So what I would love for you to do is to let me know in the comment section down below. Do you prefer Sam, Aragorn, or somebody else from Lord of the Rings? I would love to hear it. And please give me a reason why. I think it's going to be really useful for discussion. If you like this video, please give it a like. It really helps the channel out. And like I said, if you haven't already, please subscribe. You got nothing to lose. And you're up to date on all the latest content by doing so. So hey, there's something. So, my name is Matt. I appreciate you guys watching this video. And if you excuse me, I have to eat some potatoes. Because you can boil and mash them, sticking them in the stew. They're like the most universal food. Anyway, bye!